Hello and welcome to this very, very special occasion today that we are celebrating. We are celebrating the birth, aka launch, of a brand new book called We Need to Talk, Your Guide to Challenging Business Conversations. And it is by Andrea J, who is also my guest today. I'm Denise Wakeman, in case you don't know me, your host and guide to better visibility on the web. And we are having a party today. Now, since it's the middle of the day for me, I'm not drinking champagne, but I do have sparkling water to celebrate.
Ooh, very nice.
And it's also Andrea's birthday. So everybody wish Andrea happy birthday, please. That's made the perfect coming together for a book birthday and a birthday. So I am really proud and honored to be hosting Andrea today. She is my business coach, my mentor, and I consider her a very dear friend as well, and colleague. So I've got the whole, goodness all wrapped in one pretty package. Today we're going to be talking about her new book, which is a really powerful book, and she's going to be telling you a little bit about that in a minute. But at any time, if you have questions for Andrea, or if you have a difficult conversational issue that you're grappling with, feel free to type your question in the comments below this video on the live events page, and I'm going to be watching for it, and we will see, we'll put it to Andrea. She's quite a brilliant coach. This is one of her gifts, is being able to come up with the right words to frame a really delicious and heartfelt conversation. So I will also say that we're going to be indulging in some shameless self-promotion. We are celebrating Double the Good campaign, where every book bought from today through June 5th, which is Friday, is going to be matched by Andrea's company, Wealthy Thought Leader University. And that means that a copy, for every copy purchased, a copy will be donated to an organization that serves entrepreneurs. So you are doing double good. You're doing good for yourself and for others when you purchase the book today. So I'm going to be mentioning that again. We really want to get this out to the world. And of course, multiple copies is always good. I'm putting in an order for several copies for people in my world that I think will benefit. So, I encourage you to do that as well. So,
actually, Denise, could I interrupt you very briefly?
Of course.
Well, the thing is that we have fantastic news, because the Double the Good campaign, I don't know about you, but as I get older, that's how birthdays work, right? I think you get older with each year. That it's fun to give gifts on my birthday. I find like it's so wonderful and sweet to receive gifts, but it feels really good to make my birthday about giving. And I'm doing a lot more giving in my life overall. It's one of the themes, and I guess if you want to call it a second act in life, it's really a thrilling thing to experience the depth of giving. But the first recipient of the Double the Good campaign, we're hoping to donate as many as 1,000 copies of We Need to Talk. So if we sell 1,000 copies, we'll be able to donate 1,000 copies. The first recipient is an organization called pcvconline.org, and their project is called Vidial, which means renew again. And this organization is devoted to rehabilitation, not just physically, but emotionally and productively as entrepreneurs, women who have experienced domestic violence in a very specific way through burns and acid attacks in India. So these are women who have courageously survived these domestic violence attacks and have gone on not only to overcome the challenges of their physical difficulties, but go on to become entrepreneurs. So it's a complete thrill. Prasanna Getu, who is the leader of that project, has requested the copy. She has given me the address. We're going to ship these books to her to India so that all the English-speaking women who are seeking to build businesses over there after healing, as they heal themselves, are going to be able to benefit from that. So thank you, in other words, for your support of the book. It's what makes the donation possible. And we're going to continue to do that. We're going to be identifying organizations throughout this week until Friday for as long as it takes to donate as many copies as we can. So thank you so much for that.
That is amazing, and I know that there will be more announcements coming out over the next few days. I wanted to share a birthday greeting for you from Julia Aspinwall. What could be better than Andrea Lee on a hangout, celebrating the birth of her new book and her birthday? Looking forward to this scrumptious event.
Hi, Julia. It's so great to hear you. Denise, Julia is a big hangout advocate, and it's actually, she's like one of the voices in the wilderness that has made me say yes. You yourself, as this visibility strategist who just keeps saying, Andrea, hangouts like this. And so that's super fun, Julia.
Good. And we have another one here from Paula. Happy birthday, Andrea. Hi to Denise and hi to Pele. And yes, he is hanging out here somewhere, and hopefully he'll stay quiet, but he often has things to say too, so we might hear him later.
Hey, Paula. Great to see you here.
Oops, I need to change that. Sorry. Okay. All right. So I just want to give you a brief background about Andrea. Andrea Lee is an entrepreneurial futurist with her finger on the pulse of the entrepreneurial spirit and how it can show up to change the world. Throughout her life, Andrea has done one thing: help those she loves make money. Not once, but twice, she has helped reinvent the coaching industry and knows just one thing for sure: the entrepreneurial spirit is everywhere, looking for a place to make a difference. So welcome, Andrea, and my official congrats on the birth of your new book.
Thanks so much, Denise. It's been a total treat. I think of this book as an act of peace. We hear about acts of war. The reason I wrote this book really is because I've lived through so many excruciating, horrifying, terrorizing conversations, both in business and in my personal life. And I think that it's a little bit like when you forge some metal in a really hot kiln. It's like it makes steel out of you. It makes you strong. It makes you shiny. It makes you clear about what's okay with you. It makes you clear about what you will not allow in your life. It makes you rise up to say, you know what, I know what kind of energy that I want in my life and what kind of energy I don't. And if there's anything that sums up the birthday today that you have helped so much to facilitate, Denise, it's that it really does my heart good to be able to share how to have these conversations no matter what. Like, you think that that's hype, right? You think that it's like, oh, I'm sure she has good tips, and sometimes it might feel better to be in conflict and have a difficult conversation. But truly, the way that I wrote the book is hands-on and experiential. It's designed to kind of rewire you so that when you are faced with some grumpy dude in the grocery store, or somebody, giving you the fancy middle finger in the parking lot, or, a partner in your business that isn't working out, or any number of you can imagine all the different scenarios, that you not only know in your brain the technique for what to say, but you become a person who is calm about challenging business conversations. So I hope that I've at least succeeded a little bit. That's the goal that I set myself when it came to writing this book. Thanks so much for having me. This birthday afternoon hanging out with Denise, like Julia said, what could be better?
Well, I'm so glad that we're here together today too, and I'm really glad that you anticipated my first question, which was to set the stage, state the obvious. Why did you write the book? So we've got that one out of the way.
Yeah. Yay. That's just how good our mind meld is now.
Yeah, exactly. So then let's get into the nitty gritty. And I do want to remind, before I ask this question, if you do have a question about something that you're struggling with around a conversation, a business conversation that you are struggling with, it's a safe place here. I mean, it is kind of public, but it is safe too. You don't have to name any names. And, it's an opportunity to get a little bit of laser coaching direct from the master herself. So feel free to write out any question that you may have. So I want to just say that in my experience, most of us, and I am definitely included in that, is that most of us are kind of not so good at having difficult, terrible conversations. So why is that? Like, why didn't we learn this in school, or why is it so difficult to really get to that point where it's comfortable and easy to have these conversations?
I think, Denise, it's one of those things. I think we take it for granted. Conversations are things that we have all the time. We walk around as a human being with a heart, set of lungs, a brain, and a mouth. And with some, of course, unfortunate exceptions, if we open our mouth, we can speak. So it doesn't feel like we need a PhD or a special instruction manual to make this voice of ours work. But the distinction is that, just making sound come out of your mouth, like, that's how vocal cords are working. It's not doing... it's really not honoring the tool, the exquisiteness of the tool. We have a heart, a soul, a mind that informs the vocal cords that allow us to say things a number of different ways. Like in this very moment, there are an infinite number of ways that I could be expressing this thing called an idea. And so I think it's just because that we take it for granted. That conversation is something that everyone can do. We learn it at such a young age that we don't think about the art of it. We don't think about the many shades of words we can select from, the kinds of stories and metaphors or posture or tone that we can use. So we don't practice. And when the stakes are very, very high, we start to become painfully aware of how inadequate our training is. We might be very well practiced, like most, let's say stereotypically most women. I don't know about you, but I use a lot of words every single day. I almost get sick of my own voice. But choosing our words with care is a thing of practice. And that's why there's so many exercises in the book. In fact, let me give you an exercise right now. If you make a list of the biggest things that have gone wrong in your business. Let's say even think of one big thing that has gone wrong in your business. Like I'll say one of the stories that I tell in the book is about a really wonderful private coaching client who I thought was ready to move on. I thought she was ready to graduate from private coaching, and bless her heart, she didn't agree. So I allowed myself at that time, this was many years ago, to be persuaded by her. It was flattering, and you always want to be useful. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to push this. I pushed a little bit, but I didn't push to the ultimate, to what would have been the tough, the challenging, the really challenging part of that conversation. I was like, listen, I think you're done. You need to get off the coaching boob, okay? And you're good. You're gonna make it. You're totally fine. I'm here for backup. But because I didn't do that, because I didn't push, because I didn't practice, it was very sad because we continued into an extended, a final, I think it was our fourth or fifth year in building this extremely successful multi-million-dollar business, and it was unhappy. She felt like she wasn't getting what she needed, and I'm like, well, that's because you don't need anything. But I, at that time, didn't have the maturity to be able to have that. So practice identifying the points in your business where you could have had a conversation, it would have saved you tons of angst, like hours and hours of stress, sleepless nights. Think about what conversation you could have had to prevent that. And then the second part of the exercise, which I go into more in the book as well, is think about the conversations that today you aren't having. Do you have an equivalent maybe of my experience? And the next step is, of course, have the actual conversations.
Okay, well, I want to throw in some comments here. Andrea, I already have your book. Yay, love it. Thank you,
Margarita. So good. I'm so glad. I hope you use it. Will you use it? Please share. What? Because that's the thing that an author wants to hear, right? That it's not, I'm not writing the book for myself. So it's really, you know, in celebrating today together. If you already have the book, thank you so much for your support of the book and our Double the Good campaign. Love to hear, Margarita, if you've already used it or where you intend to use it.
We have a birthday greeting from Amy. Happy birthday, Andrea Lee. Honored to be here.
Amy, so great to see you. Always, you just light up the sky. Thanks, Amy.
And we have actually a question. Can we take a question now?
I'd love to take a question. You know me. Yes. Bring on the question.
Go. Okay. I always have to remember how to use this thing. Okay. So from Melita, who's very dear to me also. Andrea, I wonder if you have any insights about how to have difficult business conversations with your biz partner who also happens to be your life partner. Seems like a special sort of challenge, at least for me.
What a fantastic question. Thanks for kicking us off with a terrific question. Hey, Denise.
Yeah.
Melita, really nice to see you here. I don't think you're alone. Everyone who's listening and watching, that is a very special, it's kind of like the agony and the ecstasy at the same time. When it's going great, it's awesome. But when it's going awful, it can be really, really quite terrible. So thank you for asking and trusting this question to us here today. What I would say is a couple of things initially. There's probably quite a bit that we could talk about, but I want to give you a few initial thoughts. Number one is you're doing a great job already in recognizing that there are different dynamics in your relationship. One of the things that you could do to be proactive and create a culture or climate in your relationship for good conversations to happen when that stuff hits the fan is to talk more about this special dynamic. So the conversation could go like this. It's like, sweetie, I want to acknowledge between the two of us that not only are we partners in love, but we're partners in business. And that's actually a, kind of a unique set of circumstances. Sometimes it might be that we need to talk about a tough thing in our business, but I would like for it to, for us to be able to have that conversation without having it impact our personal life. Do you think that's even possible? And vice versa, like when we're having a bad day at home, do you think it would be possible to put that to one side and be business partners with a clean slate? And it actually doesn't really matter. There's no right or wrong answer. If you're thinking, well, that's going to be pretty hard to be completely separate about it, you're right. And it's not a trick question. We're not saying you have to be able to do that. Just the fact of knowing that there are two tracks, kind of like, let's say you have a 2-bedroom apartment and you have a pet that was sick in the 1-bedroom. It's kind of like, well, at least you have the other bedroom that doesn't have a pet being sick in it. It's like there's a different channel, there's a different room with a door on it that you can mentally and emotionally clear space within. Does that make sense? And then a final point, Denise, I know we have probably other things we want to also go to, but it's such a great question. I think it applies to quite a few people. Yeah. Is a very powerful business coaching concept for anybody, regardless of if you're in partnership with a loved one or not, but it will apply to you, Melita, is to think of your business as a third entity. Okay, and what do I mean by that? The business has needs of its own, separate from its owners. And if you think of what's best for the business, as a separate entity from yourself, whether you're one owner or you're a pair of owners like Milita, you are with your life partner, it can really help. So the conversation, the challenging conversation could sound like this. It's like, okay, I know you're really pissed off at me right now and we got stuff to work out, but could we, for just one moment, think about what's best for the business and what will help the business thrive versus what we personally may be feeling right now? Because that really it depersonalizes and de-emotionalizes, takes the charge out of the situation in a productive way. And then within that space, you can start to have the nitty-gritty conversations about the details of what you need to sort out. I hope that helps.
I love that. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. All right. Just want to bring in another comment from Joanne McCall. Reframing difficult conversations to be strength building is brilliant. Happy birthday, Andrea.
Thanks, Joanne. It's so great to see you here. Thank you for your support. Joanne is our publicist for the book.
That's right.
I'm like thrilled and delighted. She's so good at publicity and getting PR to, I don't know about you guys, but this is my growing edge, challenging conversations with media. When they, put you on the spot and stuff. So she's coaching me on that, and I'm so delighted. Yeah, really great stuff.
Okay, so I want to ask another question, maybe provoke some other things, and we do have a couple of other questions coming in, so we'll get to those and mix them in, because I think this is really the exciting part, is to get real life questions from people to really see how to apply this in the real world, because this is a real world book. So not to be too graphic, but when I know that I have to have a difficult conversation, like, it makes me want to throw up. Like, that's how I feel. I don't usually, but that's how I feel. And I've heard others say the same thing. Like, I mentioned those words, "we need to talk," to somebody when I was telling them about the book, and they said, "Oh my God, I hate hearing those words. They just make me feel sick." And I think that's a pretty common response. So how does having to have these conversations, how does that impact our health? Because if I feel sick to my stomach, then that seems like a health thing.
Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how much I love this question. This is such an awesome question. Mwah. So first of all, I have a funny story to tell you, and I promise I will circle around because it's going to feel better, okay? I really, like, it's actually a goal. It's actually on the back of the book. It says, "We need to talk." Those 4 little words have the power to strike fear into the heart of the most experienced business person. Like, that's like the first line on the back of the book. When I was starting out writing this, is it okay if I share a little personal anecdote? It's very, very quick.
Of course. Of course.
I was mocking up the cover of the book, this like cover with this big, because this is what it feels like in your stomach, right? You feel like, bleh, like,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
I had written a big kind of poster-sized piece of paper with the title, "We Need to Talk," and we were testing a bunch of taglines. You know how it is when you're crafting a book. And I left it out on our dining room table. Well, Mike, my husband, for those of you who don't know, is also a writer. And later on that evening, he said, "So, you're mocking up the cover, the title for your new book, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're trying it out. We need to talk." He's like, "Yeah, I saw that mock-up on the dining room table. I thought it was a note for me."
Ooh.
And then I realized,
like the hardest thing to hear, isn't it? Or read. Oh my God, what's coming next?
Like, really, like. So, what a sweetheart. He's like, "Thanks, because now I'll know when I see that it won't be quite as traumatizing." But
oh my God,
so,
yeah.
To get to your question, here's the insight that I would offer. And this is a fairly sweet, I think, little distinction. I think that the feeling of being ill, when we hear those words, it's nothing to do with the fact of having them. Having the conversation isn't what makes us feel sick. It's actually everything else that is making us feel sick. The not having them, right? In that moment of hearing those words, it's like, oh crap, all the emotions and all the stories and all the spinning around that we've been doing inside our head about this topic, that's what's making us feel sick. It's like a toxic buildup of emotion that gets released after we have the conversation. So let me ask you this, Denise. Once you've had the conversation, can you think back to a time when you had the conversation and it's behind you? Do you still feel sick at that time? Maybe you do. I'm not sure.
Well, once the conversation is behind, it's like a relief. So I think sometimes the fallout from a conversation can, still create an emotional space. But I think that having the conversation itself, once it's over, it's like, oh, whew, behind me now. Now I just have to deal with, come out of the conversation.
Sure, right. The cleanup or whatever it is. Yeah.
Right.
And you can minimize the cleanup too, depending on how you have the conversation. That's why there are quite a few scripts on that particular point in the book. But I'd like to make that point really super clear because it's such a good question. Could you go with me, Denise, if we were to suggest that having the conversation finally is what made it feel better?
Yes, absolutely.
Because if you think about it, if you were to continue to not have the conversation, where does your feeling of nausea go?
Probably it goes into a space where it actually is manifested.
You actually get sick.
Yeah.
So when you hear the words "we need to talk," you feel sick. And then let's say you could have the conversation right away, or you could have you could put off the conversation. Which would feel better?
Having it right away.
Yeah. Yes. That is a huge. Okay, next time you hear "we need to talk," it's like, okay, let's go. Let's talk now. Like we want that feeling because it's like the actual conversation. Think of the conversation itself as the gravel or the piece of ginger that actually makes your stomach go, oh, thank God we had that conversation and now I can feel better.
Right.
I don't have to have that taste in my mouth or like metal taste in my mouth or whatever it is. Does that help?
Yep. That's great. I think it'll help a lot of people because I know I'm not the only one who has felt that.
For sure.
Okay. So are you ready for another bit from Margarita? I'd like to bring this in. She's been waiting a little bit.
Yeah.
So lovely, no matter what. Andrea, your book helped me understand how much you know and the incredible wisdom you share that every entrepreneur needs to know. You bring about a Zen or compassion mindset. That is why I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Margarita.
See, we need to be celebrating you today too. And since I'm in control, I get to do that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay. And I want to bring in another comment from Elizabeth Crouch. She says, happy birthday, Andrea. Ordering. We need to talk for a local alternative high school. Yay. And a YWCA transitional residence site for women and children. Fantastic.
Wow. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Those are places that I have only dreamed of being able to get this message out. I can't thank you enough for thinking about where the book might help and then taking action to make sure they get it. And you're just that community spirited heart. I bow. Thank you. Yeah.
And Amy says, oh, that's not the one I was going to do. Anyway. I clicked the wrong one, but I wanted to, she had a comment about feeling sick also. So I just wanted to show I'm not the only one.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, no, you are not the only one.
There she is. There. So great point, Andrea. My stomach feels sick because I haven't had the talk. So, that I really see that it's really about a physical manifestation of all the anxiety that we carry around because of
Yes.
this.
It's a toxic buildup of not having had the talk that makes us feel ill, in my opinion. Yes.
Okay, let me do another question. And I'm reading them here because I want to get them right, but one of the things you talk about a lot, and I've been hearing it like when we've been in workshops and that sort of thing for a while now, is that you talk a lot about how one has to say no in order to say yes. So I think that that's a really key piece of the book. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that as well.
Sure. I think a great example maybe just from the actual book launch itself, if I could give an example, because, you know, how many people here are thinking they might have a book inside them and that they might write a book in future and might have a birthday party like this for your book sometime in the future. One of the things, yeah, Denise, yes, very good. I love that.
Maybe someday.
Very soon, I hope we'll have Denise's book out too. Then it'll be my honor to host you. Well, but even if you don't have a book, think of something that you're trying to do in your business that is overwhelming, that has a lot of different moving parts. Okay, it could be the launch of a new income stream. It could be that you're creating and birthing a new brand. Maybe you're starting a brand new idea. You have a startup. Or you're trying to reach an income goal. Lots of moving parts, right? And this is common in business. There's so many moving parts. If we love to say yes as human beings, and if we say yes to everything, we are essentially saying no to some of those things, but we're in denial about it.
Okay, please explain.
So if we have, let's say, even 20 things that have to get done, or 20 ideas for launching your income stream, whether it be a book or something else, and let's say you say yes to all of those things. The reality is that very likely, out of those 20 things that you initially said yes to, you actually probably could have said no to 15 of them. Right? In order to execute 5 ideas wonderfully for your income stream, you could have initially said no to the 15 of them. Instead, like so many entrepreneurs, myself included, you say, sure, well, I'll do all 20 of them. Okay, what happens is that you're actually going to end up saying no to these by default because you're going to run out of time, you're going to be too stressed, you're going to do a crappy job of them. They're going to end up being no's anyway, except that you're in denial about it in the first place. So this concept from the book that Denise, you're helping to highlight, has to do with no longer living in denial, no longer being a person that you can fool, like no longer being a person that fools yourself about what you say yes to, and say the right no's in the beginning. So with our book launch, guess how many ideas we had for what we could have done. Denise and I were brainstorming. There was like 17,000,002 ideas that we could have said yes to. And I'm getting pretty good, and in my old age, my middle age, I'm getting pretty good at saying no. But I was still saying yes to a whole bunch. Like I was about a half a dozen to a dozen ideas I was waffling with and thinking, I could say yes, still in that little bit of slight denial miasma. And it was Denise who said, this is still a little bit complicated. How about if we just do 2 simple things? Let's do a reading club where on Facebook, we're going to have Q&As that encourages. The first one is next week. Read chapters 1 to 3 before next week, and then we'll do a Q&A. And then the week after, we're going to do the same for chapters 4 and 6. That was one idea that we've executed on. And the second idea is simple: double the good. This double the good campaign. If everyone helps to buy 1,000 books, we're going to donate 1,000 books. And that's all before June 5th. That's it. Never before, I will say this is a historical moment. Maybe it took me turning 45 here today have we had such a simple, elegant launch? And that's because I said no with support. I said no to everything else. Why was that no finally easier for me to say? What do you guys think? What would make it easier for you to say those no's? It's because I was saying yes to the two things that were absolutely wows for me. This Double the Good campaign was such a wow. And the idea of actually helping you read the book and apply the book was such a wow. The rest of the no's became easy to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And actually, just looking at this book launch, we even said no in the middle to some things around the pre-promotion, because it became clear that it was just too much to try and manage. I mean, we crammed a lot in, but there came a point where we had to make a decision and say, you know what, this is going to go, because it just wouldn't have worked out as well, because it would have been too stressful.
So in a nutshell, we need to say more no's. Okay, entrepreneurs need to say more no's. If you do nothing else, just look at your life and your to-do list in all the different areas of your business, say more no's. You will do better, you will earn more money. And secondly, in addition to saying more no's overall, we need to say more empowered no's. Ask why you're saying the no and empower the no instead of saying kind of a lame no.
An empowered no.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, I have a message from our friend Sandra. She has ordered the Kindle version and she scanned it and will begin to read it tonight. Happy birthday, Andrea.
Thank you so much, Sandra. You and little Tiago and your lovely husband. I hope you really enjoy the book. Yeah, we are out on Kindle. And also the audiobook is coming out. It takes a little longer to get that approved, I understand. So that's coming out. We need to talk guide.com to click the link to see where all those versions are. Thank you so much, Sandra, for showing up. It's fun to have you here for the birthday.
See, it comes out on Kindle. It's on Kindle. I've even got it on my Kindle.
Oh, flip some pages. This is my first time seeing the Kindle.
Oh.
Flip some pages for me. This is fun.
Okay, let's hear.
Woo!
I don't know if it's backwards for you.
No, I can see it. Well, that's great.
I went through and it looked like it was formatted nicely.
Good.
And one of the things that I really like that many authors forget to do is to make the chapters clickable. That worked.
Fantastic. Yeah, I love that. Oh, thanks for showing that to me.
And then we also have the original, the paperback. So yeah. I don't have the audio to show you.
Somehow we just can't see the audio. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, exactly. So I've got some other, I want to give you some other comments from Jessica. I'm a brand new entrepreneur, read it cover to cover. I keep telling people this book will save you hours and hours of grief and heartache. Thank you, Andrea. Happy birthday and congrats.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Jessica has been, you've been an inspiration in your brand new endeavor as well, helping on social media, and been such a dear to get to know as well. Thank you for being here. Very, very fun.
And from Molly Gordon, yay, Andrea. Yay, Denise. Simple, elegant, and the clarity of your yeses and nos. Wow.
Molly, what a treat to see you here. Thanks for being. I hope you're feeling better today. Yeah, so nice. Thank you. The yeses and the nos, yeah. We should have like in elementary school, yes and no teaching, really.
I agree. I agree. Okay, from Jennifer Lee. Happy birthday, Andrea. Celebrating you and your important new book. It definitely helped me with some tough conversations earlier this year. Thank you.
You are so welcome, Jen. So nice to see you here. I am really glad, to relieve any stress on any tough conversation, especially, when some of us who in our community of entrepreneurs are highly sensitive or introverts and so on. I think it's particularly written with that in mind. So thanks for the shout out.
Okay, let me throw in another question here. Another thing that I thought was interesting, and I have actually experienced this through written communication, is that having tough conversations can help us attract clients. So can you talk about how that may work, whether it's a verbal conversation or, I mean, I've adapted some of the sample templates into emails that have helped too. So
yeah. I think I can sum it up like this, Denise. It's true. This book is a culmination of 15 years of business coaching. And I've written several books before this. I think this book is the one that will potentially unlock the most income for entrepreneurs. And I look forward to hearing the results from that as people order it and read it and apply it, maybe through a little bit of support in our reading club, that they will in fact earn more money right away, whether it's because they know how to quote a proposal better with more confidence, they know how to fire their bottom pain in the butt clients, because it's true, we all have pain in the butt clients. Or you can negotiate contracts so you reduce your expenses. These are all examples of where very significant pockets of money are waiting to be unlocked through the power of great conversations. But it's quite simple. Clients are attracted to confidence. And the kind of person you become when you are able to have any tough conversation with ease and grace is extremely magnetic. If you can become not a nervous person about quoting, not an anxious person about confrontation, a strong person who is assured that she or he can handle any tough thing that comes up, that money loves that. And all it takes really is for you to begin the journey, because even if you start to become a little bit better at this, the money will start to flow a little bit better. So being someone who has cleared their life and business of junk conversations, that's the invitation that I'm giving you here today.
I like that. I like that. Okay, I just want to give another shout out here from Katherine. Your advice to me earlier this year was to say no more often and more yeses to me. I'm still hearing you. Thanks for sharing such great insights. Happy birthday.
Katherine, thank you. I'm so glad to hear you're following through. You know that makes my heart sing, right? Keep going. Thanks for being here.
And I want to circle back to Melita because you answered her question,
Okay.
Gave her some advice. She says, that all really helps, Andrea.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're really welcome. Make sure you keep us posted on that. Yeah, because it really is challenging to be partners in life and business. So really happy to help out.
And Amy is channeling Indrani, saying she would be proud of this. Say more no's and say yes to yourself and your business.
Yes. This, I mean, very much so. Some of you know that I'm also director of strategy at Indrani's Light Foundation, a not-for-profit devoted to eradicating gender violence. And it's quite frequent that Indrani and I will get together and talk about how the same issues are happening on the not-for-profit side when we talk to leaders in philanthropy or counselors in gender violence situations and entrepreneurs or CEOs or corporations. The same concept of saying no in order to say positive yeses. Same. 360 degrees, no different. Doesn't matter what you do as a human being. So yeah, thank you so much, Amy. Yeah, Indrani has been such an inspiration and such a pleasure to walk alongside to do that, very similar leadership work on tough conversations in tough spots, in gender violence too.
Okay, so this is kind of what this has all been heading towards, this question. The Delta model.
Yeah.
You have shared that in our coaching, you've shared it in workshops, and it has a big place in the book as well. And it's something I'm learning to implement more. I sometimes forget and then I have to be reminded. But it seems like it's really the key to a lot of what you're talking about. So would you please tell us about the model for those of you who aren't aware of it yet?
Yeah, the Delta model is covered in chapter 2. It's called the universal key. And it really, I try to go into it really clearly, and there's actually a diagram of it as well. Basically what the Delta model is a set of 3 questions. I'll say the 3 questions and then we can unpack it a tiny bit here for you. Basically, any challenging situation that you're in can first be addressed with these 3 questions. You do it for yourself, and then you can ask these same 3 questions for the other people involved in the conversation. Okay, so think, if you would, just for a moment, of an example conversation you wish you could have today. Maybe it's one of the ones that you'd like to wake up tomorrow and the conversation has been had and you feel the relief of having had it, okay? So the first question is, where are you now? Where are you now in this conversation for yourself? You might say, I'm pissed off, I'm furious, I can't believe it, I'm outraged, or you could say I'm depressed, or any number of things might come up, okay? You also want to say, where are you now with it as far as the nuts and bolts of the problem? Okay, well, where I am now is I'm done. I really don't want to continue with this partnership, or I'm willing to negotiate some more, or whatever it is. Okay, so where are you now is the first question in the Delta model. The second question, so the second question out of 3 in the Delta model is, where would you like to go? Where do you want to go? Okay, so where are you now? Where do you want to go is the second question. And the third question is, how or in what manner would you like to get there? That's the third question, and that's the end. That's the end of the Delta model. It's the 3 questions, one at the tip of each, one at the tip of the triangle. So if you think of it as a delta, like a triangle shape, there's one question at each of the corners. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? And how do you want to get there? It may sound simplistic, but I can tell you I have put these 3 questions through the ringer. Not only through my own life, in my many businesses, in coaching so many amazing, amazing clients, and the many hundreds and thousands of permutations of the Delta model that we have tested. They work. They have a calming effect. They allow you to take the charge out of the situation. Oftentimes, the number one problem in a conversation is you don't even know what you want. Okay? You're like, well, I'm frozen and I'm upset, but well, what do you want? Oh, I don't know what I want. These 3 questions will help you get there, and that's an all-important first step to detangling it.
Okay, I am going to bring up a question around this. We have a little coaching opportunity for you.
Yay!
From Elizabeth. I'm feeling confident, sturdy, and empowered with a no conversation I need to have next week. I'm anticipating really big resistance, pushback. What are your thoughts about having a necessary, tough conversation with a very pervasive person who will, and of course it cut off, counter every point?
Mm-hmm. Great. So a person who will counter every point. Yes. So yeah, that's such a key. So who can relate to this question? Thank you, Elizabeth, for this. Well, what's fantastic about this is you're so clear. So if I may, I'll try to role play a tiny bit where I think you are, okay? And I'm going to ask myself, role modeling you, Elizabeth, the 3 Delta questions. Of course, I probably won't do as good a job as you at being you. So take what works and spit out the rest. But for the purposes of this example and giving you this little bit of laser coaching, I'll offer this. So if I channel you for a moment and I ask myself the first Delta question, where am I now about it? It feels like, speaking as Elizabeth, I know that this person is going to argue with me. I know that they're going to be forceful. I know they're going to be charming and persuasive, but I know that that doesn't matter. Where I am now is that I'm clear that that's going to happen, but my no is solid. I'm not going to back off. It might be a little bit stressful, but where I am now is aware, awake, and content with my position in the conversation. Moving to the second question, where do I want to go? Again, channeling Elizabeth, I'm going to imagine, you know what? I just want to have this conversation, say my no, and have it be on the record and done with. It's going to be kind of a sweaty conversation, but I want him to hear that there's a no here, and it might take him weeks or months or the rest of his life to realize that it's a real no. But I want to have the conversation and be able to walk away saying I did it with grace, and that's what I want out of it. That's where I want to go. Okay. And then finally, to ask myself, role modeling Elizabeth, the third question, how do I want to get there? Well, I think that if I were Elizabeth, I would want to have this in as peaceful as a way as possible, with the least amount of angst as possible. Maybe I would even like to be able to have a little chuckle about it, if I could, at how insistent this person was being, that they're not hearing me. It's like, well, you can keep being persuasive and charming about it, but my answer is still no. Big smile. I think I might like that. How's that land for you, Elizabeth? And does that help you see that it's like, well, I'm not going to get, that person can tug and try to get a rise out of you, try to change your mind, but that still cool place inside you that the Delta model allows you to see is like, that's like a dog yapping. You let them run their course and you say, well, thanks very much. It's great to hear what your thoughts are. And it was very good to let you know that this is going to be my last day, or this is how we're going to finish up. That's it.
Nice. Okay. Elizabeth may have some comments that she'll want to throw in there for you, and so I'll keep my eye out. We do have another coaching question, but before I get to that, I just want to know, is there anything, we're almost at the top of the hour. I don't know if you have time to stay a little bit longer, or what you want to do around that, but I want to make sure people know who have come in since the beginning, because we've had an ongoing flow of people about the Double the Good campaign. So maybe you can address that quickly again for those who haven't heard about this.
Sure. The Double the Good campaign is very simple, everyone. If you haven't yet bought the book, or maybe you've bought your own copy, but you're thinking now, inspired by some of our conversation here, that you know somebody who'd really use the book, or you can think of an organization that you'd like to donate the book to, get your copies between now and Friday at weneedtotalkguide.com. And for every book that is purchased, bulk purchases included, audio and Kindle included, for every book purchased, we at Wealthy Thought Leader are going to donate a matching copy. Okay, so when you buy your copies, we are going to donate the same number of copies, up to 1,000 copies by June 5th, to worthy nonprofits supporting entrepreneurs around the world. And what's so exciting, which I can announce here verbally, is that we're getting lots of great excitement around their recipient organizations. But we just got confirmed today that some of you know the organization called TED. Yeah, a little organization called TED. Well, they have a scholarship program called TED Fellows, which some of you may not know, but it's an incredible, a lot of the people you see on TED.com are people who go through the TED Fellows scholarship program. It's an extraordinary program, incredible work. There are 300 TED Fellows gathering for their August retreat. And we just received word that as long as we sell more than 300 copies, we're going to be able to donate 300 copies to that retreat of this little book. So, I mean, they're global people, and the book's going to be winging its way out into the world. It's a little bit crazy to think about the impact and influence that this could have with your help. So those of you who've already bought, thank you so much. You're making it possible to double the good, and we're going to keep going to find worthy organizations to gift those books to, all the way up to 1,000 copies. So please help to share the word about Double the Good, and we'll keep you posted on the new organizations that come on board as recipients.
So was this like a you heard it here first moment?
This was yes, it was.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. I mean, that's huge. That's huge to be able to get this really important conversational, fire starter and helper, into the hands of so many people. So congratulations, Andrea.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, I would like to bring in a coaching question.
Okay, and just while you do that, I'm going to, I need to plug my power in. I realized I didn't do that, so hang tight for me.
Okay. So, so for all of you who have not purchased yet, I urge you to please go to weneedtotalkguide.com and purchase at least one copy. If you know others, if you have clients, you have colleagues, you have students who could benefit from this book, consider grabbing a couple of copies. Buy one for yourself, buy one for somebody else, and then Andrea will give one to yet somebody else. So that's kind of like a 3-for-1 there, or something like that, a 3-for. Anyway, okay, so you're back with us, Andrea?
Yes, I'm here, and I'm flexible. I can stay on. I'm not, I'm enjoying this party with you guys so very much. Maybe we could set a time for how much we could go over. Denise, I don't want to assume that you have nothing better to do. You're busy with crazy good things and adventures and so on. So,
well, you tell me what works for you. I'm good.
How about 10 minutes?
Okay, 10 more minutes. Perfect. Okay, so 2:10 Pacific. So Julia asks, and I'm going to have to read some of it from the other side because it gets cut off, but what is your advice for setting boundaries with a former client, now a friend, colleague, who has been trying to pull me into their drama and tap my energy? I want to handle this with grace and keep things on good terms while maintaining healthy boundaries that support my peace and sovereignty. Andrea, you are brilliant at navigating friendship and client relationships with the same people, so I know you'll have some great insight about this conundrum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for the question, Julia. So again, I think, perhaps the best way we could do this would be to just do a tiny bit of role play where I pretend to be you. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but it might give you enough to open up into the possibilities of how to handle this. And Julia, just like with Elizabeth, there's no way I'm going to do a good job of enacting your beautiful energy, but I will do my best to be useful to you at least. So if I was Julia and I'm asking myself the Delta questions, where am I now? What I hear in your question is, I love this person and I'm also working with them. I would want to know, Julia, if what's most important to you. Like, is the friendship most important to you, and that you are willing to forgo the business part if push came to shove, or your friendship has, waned over time, and that now the business part of it is the most important to you. So that's something that I am in this moment with just this thumbnail question, I'm unable to really guess. But if I were to go just pick one 50-50 chances that friendship is most important, then I would say, okay, well, where I am now as Julia is, I'm frustrated and there's a lot of drama that's, you know, trying to get at me. But that business drama doesn't matter. The friendship is the most important. Okay, so that would be the thing that I would need to get clear first. If I go to the next Delta question, then I would say, where do I want to go? Well, I want to go to a place where it's clear to this friend that I want to hear her out, but I'm not interested in having my energy get all mucked up. So I would like to be able to say to her that truth. Okay, that's where I'd like to go. Once I've had the conversation, I'd like to feel like I've said to her my truth, that I want to support her, but that I can't do it by getting all mucked up with the drama. Okay, that would be a good result after the conversation. And then how do I want to get there? Ideally, I'd like to get there quickly. I'd like to stop extending the agony of not having this conversation. So applying the Delta to that for yourself first is one step. But as I go into further in the book itself, you can apply the Delta model then to the actual conversation itself. So very briefly, let me give you a bit of that, because I think that this will actually, if we go even one more step deeper, it might help. It would be something like, so listen, dear friend, I'll call her Sally. I'd really love to talk with you about the situation. Would now be an okay time? This is kind of a tough thing to talk about, but I think it's really important. I care a lot about you, and our friendship means the most, you know, just so much to me, but I really need to get a few things off my chest. Is that okay with you? So you get that permission, and you say, so for me right now, with what's happening with the business, it's challenging, but one of the more challenging things that I'm experiencing is really that there's a lot of emotion around it, and I am not having a good time with handling that. It's stressing me out. And where I'd like to go is to have you know that I care about how you feel about it and all the stuff that's going on around it, but that I can't handle it very well. So my request to you would be that we'd be able to solve the problem, we'd be able to talk about the problem, but that I'm not going to be able to carry around that emotion or to sit in a lot of emotion about this with you. I want you to know I care so much about our friendship, and that push comes to shove, if this business stuff doesn't work out, I want us to be friends no matter what. So I'm ready to let go of this business stuff if that's what it takes. But as we go forward to try and solve this business problem, I need to be able to remove myself from the emotions of it. So that's my piece, and hopefully you can hear that, and thanks so much for listening. Okay, that's it. So an example of how you would, could you hear where am I now, where I'd like to go, and how I'd like to get there, role modeled in what I said. I hope so, because that was my intention. So that was for you, Julia.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so I got a lot out of that as well. You know, it's easy to, you know, I find that I start, you know, adapting the language for, you know, situations I see and or experience too. And I think that that's what's so powerful about this book, is that there is sample language in it. It's not just theory. This is what you should do, but this is how you can actually do it. You know, and I think that that was a brilliant piece that you included in the book, Andrea.
Thanks. I don't want it to be shelf help, you know? I really want it to be real. And I mean, I'm getting old.
You're a baby.
I don't have that many more projects in me. You know, if I get each project to do well in life, I think the saying goes, it's like 5 years, you know, if you want to do something big with your life. So I figure maybe have another 4 or 5 projects that are big. And yeah, so thank you for that, because it's the best thing you could say to me, is that it's useful. The book is useful.
Excellent. So one of the final things I just want to bring up is that you've said that this book is really about peace. And so I am curious to know how you see this, our ability as entrepreneurs to have peaceful conversations, or how that can contribute to making the world a better place.
I love that question. Denise, you are such a good question asker. Everyone, you need to get interviewed by Denise. I feel like you're giving me these golden eggs of questions. So, I mean, I think some of us are of an age to remember, 20, 30, maybe even 40 years ago, a big societal theme was relationships. Like couples therapy was this new amazing thing. Mars and Venus and all these things that really brought forward the awareness that our relationship, the War of the Roses, the movie with Danny DeVito and what's her name, that actress, the relationships, personal relationships, were these battlefields. And if you thought about the sheer number of people who were in relationship for whom that relationship was a battlefield, it was alarming, and it became this topic of societal conversation. We needed to talk about the state of our relationships. Well, today, now, so much literature and so many therapists to focus on helping to heal and upgrade the conversations that are being had in personal relationships. We need that for entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs is one of the single fastest growing populations, certainly in North America. How many hundreds of thousands, even millions of entrepreneurs are actively trying to birth value and trade it for dollars to make a great livelihood and shape the planet today? Just think about that for a moment. And how many relationships do those entrepreneurs have that they need in order to create this thing called a business? Every single one of those relationships has the potentiality in it for terrible conversations, which is what is our default. These terrible conversations, these fraught, adrenalized, inflamed, itchy, red, horrible conversations. The potentiality is there in every single relationship, in every single entrepreneur on the planet. It is one of the largest areas for potential conflict in our lives on the planet, in North America, certainly, for sure. So if we can use that connective tissue, those relationships, as a delivery mechanism for a peaceful way of having conversations, do you think we might have a chance at influencing peace on the planet, starting with one peaceful conversation, one slightly more peaceful conversation for every single entrepreneur each week? This is why this book was so important to me to write. I see it very much as an instrument of peace. And I'm so grateful for everyone's support. It really is, so funny. It's my birthday, and I was kind of confused, but the book launch wanted to be this week. So it was like, might as well be my birthday. And it was kind of weird at first, but I feel like it's really appropriate. Like, I could not have a fuller heart right now about birthing this peace message on my 45th birthday. I think it's definitely going to be a day that I never forget.
Wow. Oh, you made my little heart sing. Talking about, just the whole concept of, just one conversation that is peaceful, how that can ripple through things and make it, even if you're just making that moment better than it was, And then you can have the next moment be better, and the next moment, and the next moment, and how that will ripple through our lives. Because if you go home for work, or your partner comes home, or your kid comes home, and you've had a better day, just think how much more peace is in your home life too, because you had a better conversation. So
you're right. You're so right. Even your pets will notice.
That's right. Pele, he's peacefully asleep. So I wanted to just bring up one quick thing before we wrap up, because it's 11 minutes after the hour. But I had put out to my audience that if they purchased a copy of the book and sent me a copy of the receipt, just email me a copy of the receipt, that I would put you in a drawing to win a place in my next online visibility challenge, 30-day online visibility challenge, which starts June 15th. So, I am not above bribery to get people to buy the book.
I'm not either. I'm so with you.
So, I thought, well, what can I do? What can I do? And then I got back an email like 2 minutes after it went out saying, that's what put me over. So that, and also because I said that my personal, the chapter that is getting the most use for me is chapter 9, which is asking for business, because that is something we have to do, every day in some way, shape, or form. And I've gone through these pages so many times. It's dog-eared. I know you're not supposed to do that, but I do it.
Oh, I do.
And I have received so much insight from just reading it again, and really adapting some of the language that Andrea uses in my own proposals and follow-up emails that have helped clarify things for those kind of sticky conversations, or it's like asking for money. It's like we have to do that. Whoa. Okay, Andrea just took a picture.
I did. I'm sorry.
Sorry. It's something we have to do every day, if not, several times a day. So I would just like to invite you to grab a copy of the book if you want to be entered into my contest to win a place in my next 30-day online visibility challenge, which starts June 15th. It's going to be about blogging. Specifically, I'll be choosing a winner on the end of day Friday, since that's the day that the Double the Good campaign ends. So,
where can people find more information about the online visibility challenge? Is there a URL that they can go to?
DeniseWakeman.com/challenge.
That's a great offer, you guys. And we are a bunch of wonderful heart-centered entrepreneurs, so all of this is from the heart. Denise has really made a big difference in the visibility of this book, as you can see, as well as helping people to actually get off their duffs to do visibility, which I can't do. I could say, the strategy and the business coaching and the helping with the tough conversations, but as far as actually the challenge of getting visibility online in 30 days, I heartedly endorse Denise's support.
Thank you.
It's really good stuff.
Thank you. Okay, so we want to get back to the book, though, and say you can get it at weneedtotalkguide.com. weneedtotalkguide.com. Every book you buy means one goes to a deserving organization that supports entrepreneurial success, and that is through Friday the 5th. So please grab your copy. And with that, I want to thank you, Andrea, for being my guest today on the Hangout. I know it's not your first way of wanting to be out there, but I am very persuasive about this Hangout thing, and I think this has been really a great opportunity for people to experience not only your message that's in the book, but also how it can be adapted to their real-world challenging situations.
Yeah. I know, thank you. I mean, you make it easy. And the questions that everybody submitted were awesome. So thank you so much for that. I hope to see more of those kinds of questions. We're doing a Twitter party tomorrow as well at 1 p.m.
We are.
So if you go to twitter.com/Andrea J. Lee, you can join us for more coaching questions, submit them there. We're also doing our reading club starting next week, where we will do more of this. So please help share the word. We need to talkguide.com is the only link you need to know in order to share it. And Denise, thank you so much. I'm about to, it's like an embarrassment of riches, except I'm not embarrassed. It's on to the next lovely thing for today. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful day too.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, and have an adventurous day.